Greetings, everyone. It is indeed an honor to be with you again today. We are here at the African Culture Center in Pittsburgh, PA, in the wonderful U.S. of A. And today, it is indeed my honor to bring some of you some knowledge that you may not have. Some of y'all very well know this great gentleman we have. We have Brother Torio Donald, who's now a coach at Woodland Hills. But we want to highlight some of the things he's done for quite a while, giving back to our community. So I want to thank you for being here with us today. And we want to, without further ado, we want to hear much as you have done, much as you plan to do, and we want to personally thank you for what you do in our community. Torio Donald, everybody know this brother. I didn't know him until recently, but I will say before I let him speak, it's indeed a pleasure. He's a man of honor, a man of God. So we're going to do great things. God is in control.
Thanks for having me. Like you said, my name is Coach Torio Donald. I started my coaching career back in 1990 at the Y in Homewood, coaching basketball. And, also, I'm a lifelong member of the Homewood community of Homewood. Grew up there in the 70s. Played low league football for Homewood for a spell. Basketball was always my favorite sport growing up, though. Like I said, I started my coaching career in 1990 at the Y coaching basketball. Then I jumped over to Homewood Community Sports with Mubarak Ismaili, was our president. But when I first started, he was just a coach along with me, and Monte and Ramon Robinson were the president of the organization at the time. They moved on to Westinghouse to take over the high school. Mubarak stepped up and took over the presidency, and we just kept it rolling from there. Put in 20 years there, at least, maybe 25. I took a break for a year or two, then went back in 2019, the year my daughter passed away. She was a cheerleader for Homewood when she was a kid. I worked for several youth organizations in the city of Pittsburgh, YMCA and Homewood. Had 3 stints with youth places. Worked at a rec center up on Paulson Avenue, the Hosanna House in Wilkinsburg. I've been around for a while. I love the kids, though. I grew up rough streets of Homewood. Childhood wasn't, the best, but, made it through. God carried me through, kept his hand on me, kept me out of harm's way. I'm just grateful to be here today, be brutally honest and say, if it wasn't for his grace and mercy, I wouldn't be sitting there on this microphone today. So, I'm giving all honor and God, honor and glory to God first. He's first in my life. I'm also an elected official of Allegheny County, a committee man on the Democratic Party. I've been doing that for about 14 years now. I'm a member of the Local Laborers number 373, Local Laborers Union. I have my own LLC as well. I do side jobs, when I have time, because I also work as a maintenance man for a company called McCormack, Barron, and Salazar. I'm just sitting here today. It's an honor, to be sitting here, even be recognized and acknowledged for my body of work. I received a proclamation from the city of Pittsburgh, City Council office and Mayor's office on December 10th, 2024. Along the way, I've also been honored, by other organizations. Community Engagement Award in Homewood from the Homewood Community Citizens Board. I've been put on the Wall of Fame for the Trade Institute of Pittsburgh. That's for masonry. I graduated from there in 2017, and I've been a member of the Laborers Union since 2018. Father of 3, daughter and 2 sons. My daughter passed away 7 years ago on June 2nd. Her birthday just passed March 5th. She would have been 35. My oldest son is 18, and my youngest son is 12, and they're both doing well.
Now, thank you. Yeah, you talk about your experience in youth. Why is it important to coach the youth? What made you want to get involved? I mean, I know you said your upbringing, you were in Homewood, difficult circumstances. Why is that important to you to give back to the community?
The youth, they're our future, for one, to begin with. For 2, they're innocent. They didn't ever ask to be here like we did, but, times change, generations change, This generation's much faster than when we were coming up as kids. You know what I mean? I just really love the kids. Like I said, I love dealing with the youth, man. They're most important in my life besides God. You know what I mean? A lot of the youth are very much misguided, and you know, it's just, you know, it's bad. Like, society's bad. They don't even know it. Like, the damn times we live in them today are really bad. They're messed up. They're mixed up. They're backwards. You know, everybody's living life like it's one big party, and we getting ready to be in the middle of World War III. You know, these kids, they don't really know what's going on because they're so privileged as to where when we were young, you know, we had to work for everything we got. You know, like these kids today, like the majority of them, I'm not going to say all of them, because there are still good parents that put the work ethics and morals and values in the kids that we had put in us when we were growing up. That's probably why we're still here today. We're not strung out on drugs or, you know, somewhere in the penitentiary or a nut house. You know what I mean? Like, these kids, like, they seen too much way too early. Like I said, the music, the videos, the social media, all that. They're very much misled, misguided. And I'm gonna tell you something that I beat into their heads every day. Y'all are not hoes and bros. Y'all are kings and queens. Y'all were born kings and queens. Y'all are not hoes and bros. Like, I'm like trying to save the culture. You know what I mean? Like, what's left of it? Like, because ignorance is so bliss out here. I feel like this generation of parents have failed these kids.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying all parents, but a lot. Most of this generation of these parents have failed these kids, man, because instead of being their parents, they're their friends. And that's part of the problem as well.
Not a lot of discipline.
No discipline, no morals.
Right.
Some of these kids have low self-esteem, but they don't even know that. They running around calling each other bros and hoes and bitches. You know what I mean? And that's not what they are, but our history does not teach them that as well. You know, I try to explain to some of them,
coaching, like, it's about trying to instill that knowledge in them.
It's more about skills. Being a life coach in sports. It's always been like that with me, with the kids. Like, I don't just deal with them just for sports, because it's not just about sports. And the reality of it, which I let my players know in all sports that I coach, because I coach more than football. A very small statistic number of you are going to go professional.
Right.
So you have to plan for life after sports.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What do you want to do? What's your short-term goals? Where you see yourself in 5 years from now? You know, where you see yourself in 10 years from now? You know what I mean? Everybody ain't cut out for college, though. You know what I mean? But a lot of them ain't cut out for the military. You know, so there's trades out here, though. There's trade schools. I went to 2 trade schools before I got into the Lakers. You know what I mean? I just try to show them that there's other options. You know, it's not just about sports. You can be successful in sports, but nowadays, only 2% of college athletes go professional every year, and that's all sports.
And then, you know, the careers are so short. Even if you do get there, you know, you really need to be fortunate to do that. Listen, another thing. Now, you said you're at Woodland Hills, high school level now. How do you think that transition is going to be? Woodland Hills. Now, you're talking about a community. I know a couple years ago, it seemed like every week they had someone getting murdered, unfortunately, on the news, back and back. What do you think you could bring to the table there? I mean, they had the talent, but there's a lot of stuff going on in that community, in the Woodland Hills community right now.
Well, sad to say, that's everywhere. You know what I mean? But, like, there's about 4 or 5 kids that's on the team, because this is my first year with Woodland Hills. I just joined on with them last month, February. I've seen 4 or 5 kids. I used to coach in Little League at Homewood. That's at Woodland Hills now. But being that I've been dealing with those type of kids all my life and all their lives since I've been coaching, you know what I mean? I can adapt to the situations that they deal with at home and what they're dealing with a single parent, coming from a single parent home and things of that nature, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of them kids don't get the love at home that they need, the support, and the discipline that they get when they come to us as coaches. You know what I mean? Because the staff that I joined, there's like 18 of us, and all 18 of us are on the same page as far as these kids, trying to save these kids and save the culture.
Yeah, that's a huge staff for high school, 18,
But like I said, I instill these kids' heads every day, not just the athletes that I encounter, just the kids in general. Y'all are not hoes and bros.
Right.
Get that out your head. You're not hoes and bros. You're kings and queens. You were born kings and queens. said, if you knew what you really came from, you know what I mean?
You have a different feeling, yeah.
Yes, there's people my age to this day, and I'm 55, still don't even know about the Black Wall Street.
Right.
And they getting ready to have a reunion down there in May of this month, 15, 16, a big old party celebration and all that. And I'm trying to get my time off, my PT off work.
There you go,
I know
yeah.
that's going to be
I
something.
know it's going to be off the chain.
I know that's going to be
yeah.
an experience.
Just looking at all the work that you put in and did your motor. That's what they say in the sports. You got a strong motor as far as obtaining the objective that you have set forth. And in hearing this brief time that you spoke with all that you've done and all that you could accomplish, the main thing that I hear is your commitment to the betterment of our children. And that's very important. You said something that really went up my wheelhouse as far as the terminology that they hear in the rhetoric, which is so consistent through the music and stuff, as you said, that them coming up, they don't have the ability to recognize what they should be able to absorb and let go. And that is, in my estimation, a plan, because they found that the music that we had was the background for our generation. So now if I dumb you down, we're the only people who can use those negative terminologies against each other in the music industry. They are paying young kids for that. So I'm really happy that you are doing what you can do to combat that. And so now you know how humble you talk about yourself, but I just want to let the people know, when it said Donald, who in Pittsburgh is royalty? Pittsburgh, in the football world, went to Pitt, played for the Rams, most valuable player, and ended the Super Bowl. I want you to talk about your family time with your cousin.
Cousin Aaron Donald. Great guy, one of the most humble human beings I ever knew. Ever since he was a kid, he was humble. I don't think he really opened up until he got to college, but I always told his parents whatever he chose to do in life, he was going to be successful at, whether it was sports or whatever. It was just always in him. His father is my older cousin. We're first cousins, but he was like the big brother I never had in life, but always wanted. And I thank him for being in my life the way he did, because he helped me get through as well. You know, he was like a big brother, but I lived with him sometimes. You know, he did a lot for me. He was my hero as well. And, the work ethic he put in his sons and his kids young, I tried to put in mine. I tried to, copy him. And, yeah, great guy, man.
I've never had the pleasure to meet him. However, every time that I see him and he speaks well, he carries himself well, and it's a pleasure to even see the way he carried his career. No type of scandals, and just balled out until he retired. And look at how he retired. I tell people when we talk about him, he's kind of like the modern Jim Brown, if you think about it. He left on top of his game, could still play, was respected. I respect that. And without saying, I respect you a great deal for all you've done and what we're going to do together.
Like I said, I received that proclamation on December 10th, 2024. And my speech wasn't long. I just, I told him, I said, I humbly accept this award because my work's nowhere near done. I'm just now getting started. I just said that all those hats that I was wearing, I'm going to remove some of them and focus on what's more important and what's mostly important. You know what I mean? And that's saving the youth. And I'm going to die on my shield doing that if I have to.
I know one question I'd like to ask you, because I'm from Pittsburgh, as we all know, but I've been gone for a while. Over the years, have you seen the support in our communities as far as the programming? Was it getting harder to get funding? Or you have parents that come out to support the kids? What can we do to help you to be a success and more so? Now, like you said, you're at Woodland Hills, so parents are going to go to the games. But what are some things that you think that we should highlight as far as, well, one thing I noticed is that there's bad behavior sometime in the fans with the parents. You see what I'm saying? I've seen that much too often. So what do you think has been a great factor? And tell some of the people that helped you along the way building this thing up as far as your career. And who taught you a lot? Because you had mentioned that you also certified basketball ref. You got your thing. So you're well-rounded in sports. Sports is a great thing. But I really appreciate the thing you said before, knowing that this gift that you have in giving that we're giving glory to God. And to me, I believe that this is what's going to make us successful, because it's not about you, ain't about me, it's about us, for our people.
Yeah, we stronger together. In the words of the great Percy Miller, legendary rapper, Master P, changed his life. We stronger together.
There's no question.
No, but no, all jokes aside, get on his website. It's called Project Hope, and check it out, man. For all of y'all that's listening and watching this, when you get some time, go on. It's called Project Hope online. And check out what Mr. P's doing to say to people.
Great work.
Yes, he is. And I got to drop something on you about this coaching at Woodland Hills. And just period. I just got a promotion on my job and a raise. And my schedule at work's conflicting with my coaching schedule. So I might be permanently hanging up my whistle.
That's Pittsburgh laws, but
Because,
your family, man, you got to do what's for your family.
Yeah.
I understand that. I respect that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that but God has a way of working things out.
I feel like this is all God's plan. I mean, the coaching is volunteering. It don't pay the bills. Like you said, I have to maintain, my household, my family. So, I might have to hang my whistle up, for the time being. But, I'm comfortable with that. I always wanted to coach high school. All the years I coached Little League, I feel like as far as the competition-wise, I had nothing else to achieve or prove, because I won on every level. And I just wanted to level up because I know I'm equipped for it. And I got the impact and the formula, and I'm a great motivator. And I catch on fast, so I was prepared for the next level up for years just, and I waited my time. I finally got my chance, and I got a taste of it. I've been training with them on Tuesdays and Thursdays for the whole month of March and February, but going into April, I might not be able to do it, but I'm comfortable with that.
As I was sitting here thinking about you coaching, unfortunately thinking about having to hang up your coaching cleats, I was curious to ask you, if there become a player that you encountered from the beginning and you knew that he had talent and you spent an extra amount of time to get them to a higher degree, could you tell me some of the prominent athletes that you coached and some of the schools they went to? Because I'm sure they like to know that you appreciate it.
I'll give you a kid. I coached him in Little League for Homewood. His name is Trayvon Mathis. He went to Woodland Hills from organization from Little League to high school. Then he went to Toledo. Then he went to the Vikings. Then the Steelers had him on the practice squad for a couple years. But he comes from a family where he has maybe 3 or 4 other brothers who were athletes as well. Come through the system. We coached them up and everything, and the grown men, productive members of society, which they are now. A couple of them are back at Homewood coaching, but this one kid, Trayvon, I used to always tell his mother, her name is Sharon Mathis, and I used to always tell her, I said, Sharon, out of all your boys, he gonna be the one. I know talent when I see it. I just got a special eye for it, you know what I mean? And what I do, I'm one of the greatest Little League coaches. I could say this. I'm very good at getting into the kids' head and their heart and making them believe in themselves and realize the potential that they didn't know they had, and I make them maximize that.
Yes,
I bring it out of them.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
That's a great thing.
I love doing that, though. I love doing that. I love motivating them kids, man. Because someone, like I said, they got self-esteem issues. They low self-esteem issues they don't even know about. Because they so used to being called dumb and being clowned and, teased and all that stuff like that. But I let them know when you get on this field, when you get in this weight room, get them pads on, so you can take all that frustration out.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
All that. But yeah, this one kid, Trayvon Mathis, I told her, I said, he gonna be the one. Out of all your boys, she had 5 boys. And I was right. I called that. I hit that nail right on the head.
Yeah, that's great. To be able to see someone that you mentored at such an early age to go to professional level. And the biggest thing that you said, not the other, he didn't have other 5 good athletes, but you seen the potential in him and told his mother, and you made that dream come true. You helped make that dream come true.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, they coach backwards, man. Like, they get these kids and they try to get the kids to buy into them and what they're selling first. And that's not how you do it. That's not the formula.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the formula. You got to get into the kid first and make them get into their self and realize who they are and what they got. You know what I'm saying? And motivate them and keep encouraging them and saying encouraging things to them, not discouraging things when they make a mistake. Because some of these dudes, you know, they go on Xbox and Madden and get these little plays, and then they try to make, you know, implement them with the kids in Little League, all this trick plays and all that. And I try to tell them, like, at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, you shouldn't be teaching them nothing but the basic fundamentals. How to get in their stance, how to fire off, how to hold a block, how to seal a block. You know what I'm saying? All that, they just put too much on their mind too soon. And then they get frustrated with the kids when the kids don't execute. You know, execute the play or whatever the way they want them to. What they do? What's the first thing they do? 9 times out of 10, they yell and holler and scream at the kids, right? That ain't doing nothing but discouraging them kids.
That's right. You made a mistake.
And that's what makes them shut down. That's not coaching. It's not coaching, man. When a kid mess up, you gotta pull them over. That's what I do. Come on over here.
That's right.
And I ask them, what you do wrong? They tell me what they did wrong. You know what I tell them? You only you. You erase that shit out your mind and go make up for it on the next play. You know what I'm saying? We'll go, especially during the game, we'll go over it in practice. But right now, you're gonna erase that out your mind. You're gonna go back out there and you're gonna get it back on the next play. You know what I mean? Tap them on the butt. You send them back out there. And you will be surprised what they need when I feel for you, man.
I'm not surprised. Because you are dealing with them and you motivate them and not tear them down.
Yeah, you're supposed to encourage them. Like I tell them, I say, y'all watch the NFL, don't y'all? Y'all watch college, right? Yeah, coach, yes, coach. I said, you see them making penalties and mistakes too, right? And they make hundreds of millions of dollars, right? I told them, you're only human, man.
Make it too.
You're not going to beat yourself up, and I'm not going to let none of these coaches beat you up like that either.
Hey, like I said, I give the coaches out there volunteering their time a lot of credit. In the Pittsburgh area, I know we're combined. There's 20 teams now. I think it's going to be good. I mean, I know there's a, you know, after the league, you all go down to Florida. Have you ever participated in that with the Florida? You go and challenge some of the teams throughout the other nation. Have you participated in that at all?
Let me say this. I have not personally went down there with, but I have like donated you know, to the cause.
Yeah, I think
when
that's
they
terrific.
fundraise
Yeah,
and all that, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But me personally, I haven't went myself.
Yeah.
I would have loved to, you know what I mean? I know a lot of the kids that went.
Man, that's perfect, because a lot of the kids, you know, have family members. That's their first time really going on a trip like that. You know, going to Florida, staying in a hotel, doing all that. So I think that just prepares them, you know, for the future if they do go to college and whatnot. So, I think that's powerful. But
it inspires them definitely and motivates them when they see something different like that. They want to
they want to make the All-Star team and be chosen to go down there.
And it motivates them and inspires them to do better and work harder at their craft. You know what I mean? Now they see something different. They got something to shoot for. Like, I want to go to another state when I get out of high school. I want to go to college. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be local. I want to go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And I know, you know, getting coaches is hard. What if somebody's on the fence? And I know they're always looking for coaches. What kind of personality do they need to have? You know, if you were telling someone who's on the fence, like, man, I want to get involved, but I don't know if I'm ready. What are like 3 steps or 3 things you think they need to have?
I'm telling you, dealing with the youth, you gotta have patience first,
right?
More than anything.
Okay.
You gotta have gang of patience, man. And you can't be pump faking. You gotta be all in.
You gotta be real, yeah.
Okay.
Again, we're right here at the African Culture Center, and we're talking to one of Pittsburgh's finest, who has committed to giving back to our community. That's what we're about. To highlight people who care about other people and doing God's work. And today we are blessed. So how could our community help in more endeavors? Maybe not a football league, but I appreciate what you said, having patience and talking to the kids. That's one of the reasons I built this place here, to have a place where the youth can come. That's why I opened up to you when I met you. If you want to have a place to come house with kids, give them some type of special things, you know you're more than welcome. So again, thank you for coming.
I also want to give a shout out or acknowledgement to Brother Rashad Birdsong from Community Empowerment Association as well. You're talking about programs in the community for the kids. Well, I worked for Rashad about 18 years ago for CEA. And he had already had that up and running for some years before I worked for him. But I can honestly say in the Homewood community, he has been the only consistent person, entity, organization, whatever you want to call it, in our community that has had programs for the children. He has an after-school program for young men and women that he's been running for years. He also has a summer youth camp program for kids that he's been running for years. So, I want to give big ups to Brother Birdsong, because basically in Homewood, he's really the only one. Now, there's another guy in Homewood who just opened up, good friend of mine, good pillar of the community. His name is Nate Goodson. He owns the Promise Center on the corner of Hamilton and Rosedale. It used to be a church. He turned it into a community center, nonprofit organization. I worked for him for a couple months. My youngest son just went through a summer camp last summer. He has a lot of activities down there for the children, a lot of opportunities. Like I said, it's free. Promise Center. Nate Goodson, giving you a shout out as well. So him and Brother Birdsong are really the only two leaders in the community of Homewood that are giving back to the youth on a consistent basis.
Well, I'm familiar with Brother Birdsong. I concur all he's done in our community, and I'm glad to hear about this other brother with the Promise Center. We know that, but I would like to include one more entity that has been doing some great things for our youth, and that is Sankofa Village. It's a place where our youth come and learn about their culture. It's discipline, it's martial arts, it's African drumming. So there are some things here in Pittsburgh dealing with our youth, and this is what we're trying to highlight. We want to accent the positive. We want to take time and give, like you got a proclamation, so people heard about you, but I hadn't. But when I heard about what you have done, it was imperative to me that other people, because you are motivating other people by your words and what you've done. So again, I can't thank you enough. And I look forward to this day to come as we close, and not to rush the closing, but just for this day to manifest, because things happen when you make things happen. And we're going to make it happen.
Well, my neighborhood and the surrounding neighborhoods and communities, I call them on this side of Penn Avenue, I'm all about equality. And it's time to start holding some of these people accountable from the other side of Penn Avenue that come over every 2-3 years and want us to vote for them and encourage our people to vote for them and pass their literature and things out at the polls. Like, I've worked the polls several years as a constable, you know what I mean? And I've been to the meetings and the little fundraisers they have when they give out the little hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that, passing out the little money at the polls to pass out their literature. But then again, you don't see them again for another 2 or 3 years when they come back around selling the same dreams, selling the same old bullshit at the polls, giving people $150 here, pass out my literature, pass out my slate card when they come up here to vote, influence them to vote for me, right? But that's all it is. That's all it is.
100% right.
That's all it is.
I see it all too often.
And you don't see them again for another 2 or 3 years until it's time for them to get reelected to get back in office. And we got to stop doing that.
But ironically enough, in our community, they play us cheap. They come in our community, they come give you a chicken dinner, a raffle off a TV, and I've seen it too much myself. But as we close, when it's time to close, I'm going to leave with a poem that fits what you said, because I'm on the same page, not just with the kids, but about us all being known that we have to hold people accountable.
It's about equality, man.
It's about equality.
And I got on the board, like, not to cut you off.
Go ahead, brother.
I didn't never put my name in the hat to be a committee person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, I didn't. I didn't even want to do it. When they came to me the first year, I said, no, I'm not doing that. I don't like politics. I don't like politicians. It's all bullshit. It's a dog-eat-dog world. A lot of false dreams, broken promises, unfulfilled promises, all that, right? So I didn't do it the first year. A woman named Olivia Harris, where I live at, she's the committee woman. But me and her were close. She's older, right? We're close friends. And she came to me the next year and asked me to do it. That's like, we need your persuasion, your influence, your young blood on the board, this, that, and other. And she's the committee woman, and we didn't have a committee man. So because she asked me to do it, I did it.
What was some of the benefits? Even though You went
None.
out of it. Okay.
None.
So you did it on the strength that you
None.
respected her, but
Yes.
you didn't want to do it.
And I want some equality in my neighborhood, man. It's time to hold some people accountable.
Well,
You know, but I'm ready to resign because I'm not going to be nowhere where I can't elevate
well, the only
or
thing
level up.
that I can do as a poet, I'm very conscious of the world we're living in. And so, in this poem I wrote 20 years ago, he was not the president. But the issues and inequalities that we see that's so rampant in our society, I wrote a poem called The House of Peace. It's time for a change. It's time for the White House have to change its name. Listening to the White House implies that you won't govern all of it the same. The White House, that handle has to go. It can no longer stay status quo. They say, what's in a name? I say a lot. For years, what was still called the White House, a lot of people were forgotten. So I submit the name the House of Peace. Then maybe the disenfranchised get their chance to get a piece of America's pie. There was another administration. One doesn't cheat and one doesn't lie. With the name change, was come a change in policy. Now, I knew so gonna be war no more. When America's really ready for worldwide peace, you'll consider name change and practice what you preach. Peace. We out of here. Amen.
I just want to say one thing to black people all over, but mainly in my hometown, in the city of Pittsburgh. We are way too hard on each other. Way too hard on each other. And it's time for this to end, man. Strength is in numbers, y'all know that. It's time to end all this hatred against each other. This self-hatred coming out that we don't even know we have. We taking that on each other. Like, come on, we stronger together, man. We stronger together, man. We stronger together, man. We way too hard on each other about the simplest, pettiest of issues, man. You know what I mean? We living in some crazy times now, and I feel like we living in the end of the days, man. It's time to come together, man. You know what I'm saying? Before it's too late. It's time to come together, man, and unite, stand strong for each other, man.
But also in 1921, you said something I want to bring back to always recognize our ancestors. In 1921, Honorable Marcus Garvey said, if we knew the greatness from which we come, we'd be less likely to disrespect ourselves. That is very important.
Yes.
Because when you tell the kids they come from kings and queens, that's the truth. So we
Yes.
have to recognize who we come, who we belong to, but further on, what are we going to do? We come from fighters. We are warriors, not worriers. See, they say if you pray, don't worry. And if you worry, don't pray. But we have to do the work. And I commend you in all the work that you've done and what you're willing to do. So as we close here, and I say one more time, I tell you, I can't thank you enough, because in this brief time when I met you and I heard your story, it's important that we get these stories out, because other brothers are doing stuff, but who's giving them an opportunity? So we're glad to be able to have you at Still See Sports World to be our special guest and to highlight the positive that you are. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.